early Christmas gift. Young Bob has fallen out with Turning Point UK. And really, also, I think you gave the game away. I think that the American Turning Point don't want anything to do with people like Tenconi and Jack Ross because they're both fascists, yeah? And basically, you're going down the same way. I mean, your comments on Israel are pretty poor, but they're in line with what Bob says. Bob has said, that Britain doesn't owe Israel anything. What he doesn't know is history. Yeah. The fact is that this country was responsible for the mandate. Yeah. And what we did, as usual, was we thought we could promise the territory to both sides and then be the peacekeeper. That's exactly the British Empire trick. So you're still saying he's a great guy, really. This is the guy, when he's surprised people don't join his organization, all I did was call him what he is. He's a fascist. I said two things after the Charlie Kirk memorial, by the way. My contributions to that one were, number one, saying, Lord, bring us a British Charlie Kirk. We don't have one yet, and it ain't you. Yeah? And then after, when he was on his recruitment drive, yeah, I shouted out two things. I said, you're not Charlie Kirk, number one, and two, you're a fascist, to which he promptly obliged. So, thank God, Turning Point seems to be, in the bin. Now, you've got some potential, even though what you're saying about, I'd rather have white people. Have you been on a London train lately? Yeah, I'd say about a third of the people are white. And, you need to start getting over the fact that Britain is a very multicultural country. What you need to be starting, and this is all you lunatics on the Tommy movement, is starting to realize that we are a multicultural we've literally imported pretty much most of the cultures of the world, yeah? Now, I think one of those cultures, which is radical Islam, is not compatible. So we agree a lot on that one. But, one of the purposes I still keep this channel is that British Hindus, who are also being attacked by radical Islamists, need to come on board with some kind of new unified party. Now, I think that possibly could be reform. The problem is that we need law and order. So what other rubbish did you come out with? You're talking about the Conservatives being a bit fuddy-duddy. You're probably right there, because half the members are basically over 70. The movement hasn't grown. You then come out with your rubbish about conservatism. You say it's a free market of ideas. Oh my God, if I was on a university campus, I would slaughter you. That's metaphorically, of course. You need to go away and learn your stuff. You've got potential, dude. This kid's got potential, yeah? But the thing is, he's being handled by some utter idiots, yeah? Now, notice, I have not called Tommy Robinson a fascist. I haven't called Richard Inman a fascist, even though he's now starting to behave like one when he blocks me from comments on his channel. Well, I was saying supportive comments. I mean, the thing is, I've written to some people at the established churches saying you ignore what Tommy Robinson is doing at your peril, because essentially he's moving into the gap left by the established churches and by the Labour Party. Because when socialism comes in, atheism comes in. It's the natural result of socialism. And so after we had the 45 government, which was a total disaster, where socialism was implemented, Britain had a choice in the 45 election between free market capitalism and socialism. Churchill did an incredibly poor job in that campaign, by the way, and the rest is history. The soldiers came home and voted for Attlee. Now, it was only Thatcher's government that started to roll that doctrine back. Well, what do you know what Mrs. Thatcher stood for? Nobody, very few people understand economics. So you're in good company there. So anyway, where are we? Yeah, your stuff on the we should preserve our white culture. It's a bit dodgy. I mean, by the way, do you understand demographics, dude? What you're seeing is 20 years in the past. Yeah, the people coming across the boats are the kids that were never had in 2005. Yeah. The white middle class and working class have not been having kids for years. Yeah. In fact, the other problem with the demographic of Britain is that the wrong people have been having too many kids, most of all on benefits. So learn your economics. if you've got a fiance, I mean, what older Bob's got married. You're going to be getting married when you're 18. Well, maybe take a trip to the United States of America where you'll be safe. Yeah, because these Antifa they're going to target you, young Bob, horrendously. They will put a knife in you, and I really fear for your safety. I really fear that the people around you, one of whom has got a huge amount of money, are not protecting you properly. So anyway, have a Merry Christmas to all my friends or not so friends on the far right, because you are actually destroying the patriotic movement in places because you're forgetting that we are a multicultural society with loads of Sikhs and loads of Hindus. Now, they don't want Pakistan 2.0 in Britain. Yeah, they don't want it. So they would quite happily work together in either reform or a new political party to completely stamp out the radical Islam that is there in our country. We need to pull out of the EHCR. That is an absolute must. Suella Braverman said that. So there are people around who are politicians who know what they're doing. My fear of reform is that you will end up with a load of whole new MPs who are completely inexperienced. And then what Farage has almost said he's going to do this. He says he's going to appoint lords to the cabinet. Well, then, of course, Starmer is now saying he's going to abolish the House of Lords. You see, it's a total disaster. The next election is going to be a total disaster, if we even get to that. Because if Starmer has major trouble on the streets, which will come when the economic downturn comes, you think things are bad now. They're going to get even worse. So Merry Christmas, Britain. At least that's one early Christmas present. I doubt I'll be making any more videos until about 3 days later. And like I say, I've got a visa come through, and I'm a bit worried about going. But you know, the fortune favours the brave. Merry Christmas, everybody.